Hello, my name is John Holbrook, and I live in Missoula, Montana. I've been working with orchard mason bees for some 25 years, and it is an unbelievably satisfying hobby. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a bee block, how the bees use the block, and what to do with the block at the end of the season. Orchard mason bees are native to North America and are among the first pollinators to emerge in spring. They are gentle and solitary. This means they do not live in a hive, make honey, or have a queen like honeybees do. Female orchard mason bees are almost twice as big as the males and are a beautiful metallic blue color. The smaller male has longer antennae and a little blonde tuft on the top of its head. When a female is ready to lay eggs, she looks for a good nesting site and is attracted to natural holes. But she will also gladly accept man-made bee blocks. So here's how you can make your own bee block. For the block, you will need a 2-inch by 6-inch piece of dry larch or fir that is 12 inches in length, as well as a pencil, ruler, center punch, hammer, short 5/16 inch diameter drill bit, a 6-inch long 5/16 inch diameter drill bit, and blue painter's tape. You'll also need access to a drill press, power drill, and a table vise. And for the straws, you'll need regular printer paper that is cut to 2¼ inches wide by 5½ inches long, a 3/16 inch diameter steel rod that is 9 inches long, a pair of needle nose pliers, scissors, and a 2-inch long nail. To start the block, select the best surface for nesting holes that is smooth with few knots or splits, and you will notice how smooth and unrumpled that is. You'll notice the coloration of my block. And lately I've taken to using a blowtorch to render this color pattern, and I believe it gives the bees something to focus on their return from their foraging trips and their trips to gather mud to build their nests. Use the pencil and ruler to draw a line down the middle of the side. Then, starting 1 inch from the top, make a mark every 3/4 inch down the line. Now turn the block over and draw a short midline from the top. Make a mark about 3/4 inch from the top. This will be the hole to hang the bee block on a nail. Then use the hammer and center punch to mark the center of the holes for drilling. Now take your block to a drill press and drill 5/16 diameter pilot holes using the shorter length drill bit. This will help keep the holes straight later on. Once you've drilled the pilot holes, use the blue painter's tape to mark 5½ inches on the longer 6-inch bit. This way you won't drill through the back of your block. Next, you want to secure the block in a table vise. Then use a power drill with the taped 6-inch bit to slowly drill out the rest of the holes. And lastly, hammer the sawdust out of the block. Now, before you hang your bee block, you'll need to make the paper straws. And they look like this. These will need to be replaced each season. Start by placing a single piece of pre-cut paper in front of you. Then on the back edge of the paper, start rolling it back and forth over the steel rod. With enough pressure, this will form a permanent bend in the paper. Continue rolling the paper over the rod until it eventually gets tucked up under the rod, and then roll the paper completely around the rod. Hold the paper tight with the thumb and fingers at the top and the bottom so the paper does not come loose around the rod. Insert the paper-wrapped rod into a hole in the bee block and push it all the way to the bottom of the nesting hole. And then let go of the paper and stir the rod clockwise against the wooden hole to unwind the paper, pushing it against the sides of the nesting hole. Test how tight it is by taking a needle nose pliers and try to pull the straw out. If it is too tight, put the steel rod back into the nesting straw and unwind it by going in a counterclockwise motion, keeping a little pressure against the walls of the nesting holes. Then test it again with the pliers. You want the paper straw to fit just right, not too loose and not too tight. When all the nesting holes in the block are filled with paper straws, use a pencil to mark where the wood and the paper meet. Use the pliers to pull out a straw about a half an inch to an inch. Then cut off the straw about a 1/16 of an inch or less above the mark on the straw and push it back into the hole. The straw should rise a little less than a 1/16 of an inch above the surface of the bee block. After finishing your bee block, you'll need to find a good spot to hang it. The best place is under an eave of your roof, so it is protected from rain and, more importantly, is facing the early morning sun to the east. This allows for the front of the block to warm up, but keeps the sides of the block and the bees from getting too hot. Once a female orchard mason bee approves your block, she will start collecting pollen and nectar from nearby flowers. She uses the little hairs on her belly to attract the pollen electrostatically, rather than on her hind legs like honeybees do. Then she takes one load at a time back to the nest hole until she has enough pollen and nectar gathered to form into a ball called bee bread. Then she backs down her hole and lays an egg on top. The egg she lays first at the back of the nesting hole will develop into females, and the ones closer to the entrance will be male. This protects the important female larvae from predators like woodpeckers with long, sticky tongues and wasps. After laying her egg, she uses her large mandibles to collect mud and seals off the chamber to start a new one. This continues until there are up to 8 chambers, each with food and one egg. Once the larva hatches, it will complete its development in 10 to 14 days and feeds on the bee bread while it grows. Then the larva spins a cocoon. It will metamorphose into pupae and by the end of the summer into adults, which remain safe and sound and fully developed inside the nest until the next spring. At the end of the season, sometime in the fall, you'll need to prepare the cocoons for winter and your blocks for next spring. For this, you'll need a pair of needle nose pliers, 2 small boxes, a roughly 2.5 by 1.5 size paper box with lid, double-sided tape, hole punch, a power drill, and taped 6-inch bit. If your block has been used by orchard mason bees, there will be dried mud plugging the holes. Now, other insects may use your block like leafcutter bees, wasps, flies, and parasites. Be sure to closely inspect your cocoons. First, carefully use the needle nose pliers to remove a paper straw from the block. Don't worry if you poke through the mud plug a little bit. Then slowly unroll the straw to reveal the cocoons separated by mud walls inside. Gently remove the cocoons with your finger and clean off the mud walls that might be stuck to one end or the other of the cocoon. Separate the cocoons by size. Female cocoons are larger than male cocoons. For storage, put the female cocoons in one small box and the males in the other small box. These can go in your fridge, not the freezer, for the winter. Keeping them cold will prevent them from hatching too soon. Once it's warm enough and early spring flowers like dandelions and daffodils have started to bloom, it's time to get your bees and block ready for the season. For the block, use the power drill and taped 6-inch bit to quickly clean out the nesting holes in case any burrs have formed over the winter. Be sure not to go through the back of the block. Then roll and insert new paper straws like before. Next, take the 2.5 by 1.5 craft box and mark how far the lid goes down on one short side of the box. Right above this line, use the hole punch to make 2 side-by-side holes in the front. Put the lid back on and make sure it covers the hole. Take a small piece of double-sided tape and place it on the bottom of the box. Now attach the box to the top front end of your bee block. When you are ready to hang your block back outside, put several male and female cocoons into the box taped to the block. Now, this is very important. Once you're outside, slightly open the lid on the box to where the holes are visible. This way the bees can emerge from the box after they hatch. If it's warm, around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, it won't take too long for the bees to hatch. The males will hatch first and stay close to the bee block waiting for the females. A couple of days later, the females emerge and promptly mate. Females store the sperm in their bodies and only fertilize those eggs she intends to hatch as females. Unfertilized eggs develop into males. From there, the cycle starts all over again. She'll find a suitable nesting spot, collect pollen, build a nest, and lay eggs during her short 4 to 6 week lifespan.
Lord.
I wish you the best of luck raising generations of these super pollinating, wonderful little bees.